Hello everyone, Jeff here. It's only 5:20 at night, but of course it's pitch black outside. I'm going to be moving this camera around a little bit, trying to find the right spot here. Bear with me. Like I said, the living room is just way too dark to make a video, so we are in the kitchen. Hopefully with decent light. And I just want to say the first wave of Christmas VCLT went out last week. And then yesterday, I sent out 2 more packages. Today, I sent out 3 more. So, I gotta say, I've been having a ball doing this because I love wrapping presents. I love giving gifts. Love making people happy. So, it's win-win all around. I think I might be done. There may be 1 or 2 more, but several of you can expect some VCLT soon. So just a little update with that because it's Christmas. It's my favorite time of year. One of my favorite times of year. And it's time to start buying presents for my own family now. So in the while I was searching for VCLT, I actually went to a half-price books for the first time in a long while, and I was pleasantly surprised. I actually found one of the albums I was looking for as VCLT, and of course, things being what they are, I found a couple for myself that I just couldn't resist. I was actually surprised to find them. First one being from Genesis to Revelation. This is Genesis' first album. And just a plain black cover here. I'm going to try and not glare these covers out too badly. Couldn't say no. It's on the London label, as you can see. In surprisingly decent shape. I gave these a cleaning, and aside from a couple of light-looking scuffs, it looks to be in great shape, so that will get spun soon. So I was very pleased to get that, and it even came with the original inner. I'm assuming it's an original inner because I think, I didn't do any research on this, but I think the first Genesis album came out on the London label, and this looks like a period correct inner sleeve from '69, I think. This album came out in '69. So there was that. I was very happy to find that. And then the other one I was very happy to find is 2112 by Rush. Also in very good shape. Actually better than very good shape. It's, I don't even call it damn good shape. With the 70s Mercury label. So I've been kind of looking for this off and on, and I just happened to come across it in my search at half price, so, and it was for a decent price, so I just grabbed it. So found a couple of nice ones for myself there while I was shopping for other people. And if, you know, if you can't reward yourself, then who can you reward, really? A couple CDs that I've listened to here that I've forgotten to put in earlier previous videos. These were some VCLT that I got from Hannah a while ago. This was Albert Collins and the Icebreakers live in Japan. And I should say, I posted this on Facebook last week, Albert King Live. And while I was at half price, I saw albums from both of these guys that I seriously thought about getting but didn't because the stack of stuff that I was buying, not just records but books and other things, was fairly large, so I had to cut back a little. But I'm hoping that they might still be there on a future trip. This was a great album. I need more Albert Collins in my life here. This guy is great. I think he's called the Iceman, obviously. That's kind of like his name. So a lot of his album titles have ice in the title. And this was a great set, great live set. Same with Albert King. This was a live concert that from 1983 that he played at. And actually, Rory Gallagher guest stars on one of the songs as the years go passing by. He plays the first guitar break, actually. And then Albert, being, you know, the king, smokes it during the second guitar solo. So this was a great album. So what I need to do is I need to rip these to my computer and put them on my iPod. That way I can really listen to them in the car, which is a lot of this music is really good for. So that was some good stuff. All right, moving on to the records. The two bands that I will be showing are Chicago, as promised last time, and a few of the REMs. I actually got into the REM before I was able to make this video. So we're going to start out, and I'm going to try and run through these quick because, like I always say, but always fail to do, we're going to try not to fail today. This was the Chicago album that was also VCLT from the Vinylverse. I showed this last week. This was a live Chicago album from September 13th, 1969. 2 months before I was born. I was still in the oven when this album was, when this show was recorded. So, on Pretty Red Vinyl, as I showed last time. All of the songs are from the CTA album, which was their first album. And it sounds great. It is great. It's nice to have a live Chicago album from that time period featuring the original lineup. So from there, we move on to Chicago 2. This was the first album with the shortened title. They shortened it from Chicago Transit Authority to just Chicago. I notice on these albums they don't like to list the songs on the back. They either put them on the gatefold, or in some cases not even on the gatefold. You have to look on the record themselves. But this one contains a lot of the classic Chicago hits. Make Me Smile, which actually the single was edited heavily from the album version. There's the beginning, and then there's a long piece in the middle, and then it comes together back at the end. And the record company just hacked the middle out and just stitched the front and back together to get the Make Me Smile single. Probably one of the quintessential Chicago songs is on here, 25 or 6 to 4. Showcases the band, every aspect of the band perfectly. Wake Up Sunshine is a great album cut that sometimes I hear on the radio here in Chicago because one of our local DJs is a big fan of Chicago. So every now and then I think he has the freedom to pull a non-chart hit song, so he usually does that one. That's a great one. And of course, Color My World, the classic junior high dance song, maybe even to this day, I don't know, but it was when I was in junior high. But this was a great album, and I'm a big fan of the early era of Chicago because, you know, Terry Kath was more of a presence with his guitar and singing. And, you know, Peter Cetera was a part of the band, but he wasn't the leader. He wasn't running the show. So it was more of a collective. They were more of a unit with everyone stepping up instead of there being, you know, a leader and a bunch of sidemen. So Chicago 2 is a great one. I'm not showing these in order. I'm not alternating them like I do when I do like the 2-band videos. This is all just the order that I played them in. Which brings us to Chicago 11. I believe this was the last album featuring Terry Kath. This came out in 1977. I know he died in 78. And the gatefold is just this wacky picture. Baby What a Big Surprise is the big hit off of this one. You can tell by this point in time that Chicago had become more of a, you know, soft rock singles band. Like I said, with Cetera taking the lead on a lot of the songs. and it has a lot of those late 70s AOR sounds to it. Still a good listen, you know, still decent, but you can tell this is the tail end of the golden era for the band here in Chicago 11. And I didn't even know which number this was until I couldn't hardly even read the spine. I had to look this one up. I thought this was Chicago 8, but it turns out it wasn't. It's Chicago 11. So there's that. Then we move on to REM. It was their EP called Chronic Town. There's the back. You can see these songs here. I played this once a while ago, and since I knew my wife wanted to listen to these REM albums with me, I pulled it out of the stack and I played it again. Great, you know, great songs on here, lots of great energy, and all of these albums are on the IRS label, so they all look basically the same as this. And these records are all in very nice shape. The guy, I bought these on eBay, and they all came in very, very nice condition. So, alright, I'll put that back in the sleeve later. Moving onward, we get to the first full-length album by REM, which is called Murmur. This was a brand new listen for me, besides a couple of the hits that I'd heard previously, obviously. Talk About the Passion is on this one. And what else is on here? I can't hardly read the thing. Radio Free Europe. That's right. That one's on here. And I'll never forget, Rolling Stone put this like in the top 10 of greatest albums of the 80s when they did one of those special issues. And I remember reading it, and this came out, you know, like obviously at the end of the 80s, and I wasn't really sure who REM was, and I think this was like number 8 or 9 on the list, and I'm like, what the hell? Who are these guys? And then not too long after that, the Green album came out, which was the first REM album I ever bought on CD, which I still own, and I still enjoy that album immensely. But it wasn't until now that I was able to go back and start listening to most of their discography from the beginning, so this is pretty nice to do that. So Murmur from REM, this was a great listen. I'm missing the Reckoning album. I need to track that down, so we're going to skip ahead to Fables of the Reconstruction. This album came out in '85. Once again, it doesn't list the songs. I don't know why these guys do this, why bands do this. Slightly different IRS label, it's a different background color. Got like a tan instead of silver. And just taking a quick look. Can't Get There From Here was on this one. Green Grow the Rushes, I remember hearing that on the radio. What else? Feeling Gravity's Pull. Maps and Legends, Driver 8. There's a lot of good like album cuts on this one. Not necessarily chart hits, but back in the day when DJs would play any song they wanted to off of an album instead of just the dictated single. But very similar. I mean, they had a specific sound. You know, lots of jangly Rickenbacker guitar. Lots of, you know, Michael Stipe's deep vocals, impenetrable lyrics. Don't know half of what he's singing, but it just sounds good. So, and this one is a gold stamp promo. Right there. In fact, I think all of these are, aren't they? No, Murmur is not. But this one and the one after this is a gold stamp as well. So, Fables of the Reconstruction by REM, another good listen. And then, I didn't get around to listening to this one till later, but this is Chicago 8. Once again, front same as back. No song listings, except on the custom label. Right here. And the big hit off of this one is Old Days. I got this copy from my friend Gary, and this was actually a nice sounding copy. I cleaned it. It looked a little worse for wear. I was a little bit leery of playing it, but it turns out it sounded pretty good. So, Chicago 8. This one came out in '74. This one was a decent listen too. This was kind of, again, more of a transitional record. You know, Terry Kath wasn't singing as much. He wasn't playing those hot guitar riffs as much. You know, leaving it to Cetera and Bobby Lamb to take over a lot of the vocals in the songs. But still a good listen, and my daughter Molly drew this cover on her iPad, which she copied and gave it to me, so I love that kid. But, and I think originally this album came with an iron-on transfer of this cover too that you can put on your t-shirt, which is what the kids liked to do back in the 70s. That was a big thing, I remember. This didn't have it though, so. But still a good listen as well. And finally, the last album for this video is Life's Rich Pageant by REM. This was the album that came out in 1986. Here we go. We've got some song titles here. We've got Cuyahoga. I remember that. Fall on Me. That was a big hit for them. I remember hearing that an awful lot. Begin to Begin. And as you can see, this one is also a gold stamp promo. And these records, all of these REMs so far have been in just absolutely mint condition. They've been playing beautifully, super quiet. Love it. So, makes me very happy. And I've been digging REM immensely listening to these records. So, again, not noticing a ton of difference in their sound from album to album. I know as the 80s progressed, things did change some. And into the 90s, they got a much harder edged sound there for a little while, when, like with the Monster album, which is one I would love to get on vinyl, but I know I don't think it's been reissued on vinyl, has it? Or has it? I'm not sure. But in any case, that's what I've been listening to this week. So thank you all for watching. Hoping everyone had a great Thanksgiving. I hope you all are able to enjoy this Christmas season as it's upon us. Yeah, I love wrapping gifts. I swear I could just do a side job at the mall where I could just be one of those people that wraps gifts. I just love to do it. So wrapping records is a lot of fun, and it's pretty easy. So, okay guys, that's going to be it for me. Everybody take care. Peace. Merry Christmas. And I'll see you soon.